Arsenal close to Greek Wonderkid, Semenyo added to the list, and Gabriel rejects huge Saudi move. Let's get straight into the news. How's it going, guys, and welcome back to Punch Drunk Arsenal, your home to the latest Arsenal news and transfer updates. In today's episode, we're going to have a little look at all the breaking news surrounding Arsenal at the moment. We've got some news regarding a Greek Wonderkid playing in the Belgian Pro League. We've got a story regarding Antoine Semenyo. Apparently, there's interest from both Manchester United and Arsenal in the Bournemouth winner. We saw some breaking news on X just now from Gary Jacobs stating that the Gunners are interested in Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa, even though that's a story I've actually heard Steve K mention quite a while ago. Then we've got some outgoing reports. We know that Nuno Tavares, the former Arsenal left back, has now finally joined Lazio on a permanent deal, making his loan move from last season a permanent one. And then finally we've got Gabriel, arguably for me the best Arsenal player last season, has apparently rejected a big move from Saudi Arabia in favour of a Gunners stay. So let's get straight into it. As I mentioned, we've got some news coming out of Greece regarding Konstantinos Karetsas, a 17-year-old attacking midfielder slash right winger, currently playing for Genk in the Belgian Pro League. Now, this is a bit of a weird story coming out of Greece. Karetsas is not a player that we all going to be very familiar with. Obviously, the Belgian League is not the most watched one for Arsenal fans and Premier League fans as a whole. But there's some big talents coming out of there, and apparently Karetsas is one of the biggest ones. As I mentioned, we're not going to know much about him. I did a little bit of research on him. 17 years old still. Looks like he made his debut for Genk around the 16 years old. So you're not going to be playing in one of the top 10 leagues in Europe at that young age if you're not a good player. The reason why I state though that the story is a bit weird is just the price tag involved, as well as the report stating that he's going to go back on loan for this upcoming season. The report stated that the Gunners are looking at around a £40 million deal to sign him this summer and then loan him back for another year to Genk. Now, even if he's a super good talent, we know that the Gunners have to make big changes, especially in the attack this summer, so there's going to be a big outlay of finances going into the attack. If you just consider that, let's say we sign Sesko as well as Rodrigo or something like that, it's probably going to be around the £150 million mark just to land two attacking options. Now, if you're going to be spending £40 million on a youngster coming through, it just doesn't really make sense that we would send him back on loan. And at the same time, we obviously also still have Fabio Vieira. He's big likely that he would be moving on. So if we could sell him for about £25 million, this still would make a little bit more sense. But then on the other hand, we still have Ethan Nwaneri and Max Dowman coming through. Both can play as attacking midfielders. Nwaneri was playing a lot as a right winger this past season, and he's at a very close age to Karetsas. So this deal, just in my opinion, doesn't make a lot of sense unless we're going to focus Nwaneri at the 10 or Karetsas as a 10, and then Nwaneri can be back up for Saka. Like I said, this move, just in my opinion, doesn't make a lot of sense. The kid undoubtedly has a lot of talent, a lot of potential. I believe he scored around 6 goals and 3 assists last season, and he's a very highly rated player amongst Europe's elite clubs. I know Real Madrid was sniffing around for his signature, Man City as well. So it's definitely a player that a lot of the elite clubs are taking a liking to. Like I said, just regarding Arsenal's priorities this summer, I don't see this move happening in my opinion. However, according to the report from, I think it's AMNA News, a Greek publication, they say that the Gunners are close to reaching an agreement for the player. So this is an interesting one. I think it's one to keep a slight eye on, but I wouldn't put too much emphasis on this deal at the moment. Moving on, a report from Sam C. I believe his name is Sam C. Reports on X. He works for the United stand, so he's actually been quite good with a couple of transfers in the last couple of seasons. Not the 100% the most reliable source, but he's been quite good with a lot of the news coming out, especially Manchester United news. And he's reported that Antoine Semenyo, a player that a left winger from Bournemouth, well, left and right winger, he can play both sides, has attracted interest from both Arsenal and Manchester United. I believe his price tag would be around £45 million this summer. He scored around 14 goals and then between 6 and 8 assists in the Premier League last season. Also, at 25 years old, would be a very good addition to the club. I just don't know, with Arsenal wanting to really improve their attacking options, would he necessarily be one that could come in and elevate the club to that level? If he's coming in as a backup for Saka, makes a lot of sense. Even though the price tag is still quite hefty, it does make a lot of sense. But in my opinion, this is a move that looks more likely down the Manchester United line. If you look at the top players Man United have been signing this transfer window so far, they're definitely looking at the teams just above them. They've signed Cunha, they're working on a Mbeumo deal and now possibly Semenyo, which does make a lot of sense if Man United are able to bring in these players from teams just above them, like arguably they're the teams above them's best players. You'd expect them to elevate up to like an 8th or 10th place position, which is much better than a 15th place position. They're not really going to be attracting the world's elite players at this moment in time, especially considering that there's 6 Premier League sides in the Champions League. So you'd expect those teams to be prioritizing a little bit slightly higher players, even though Mbeumo, Cunha, Semenyo, all of these players would be good at the top 4, 5, 6 clubs. You just expect Man United to be pushing hard on a deal for this one. As I mentioned though, if he's coming in as a backup for Saka, this deal does make a lot of sense. It's just the price tag involved for a backup player I don't think will happen. We'll have to keep an eye on this one though. Semenyo I know is a big Arsenal fan, so if you expect if the Gunners do come in with a bid for him, he might be wanting to push for a move to a club that's playing in the Champions League, been challenging for the titles, Champions League semi-finalist last season. He'll definitely be elevating his CV as well. So for the first 2 stories, I wouldn't put too much faith in them at this moment in time. You never know how the transfer window pans out though, but I wouldn't put too much faith in them. Thirdly, we got some breaking news actually as we're busy recording from Gary Jacob, stating that Arsenal have added Morgan Rogers to their transfer list. Now this is the second big reliable journalist actually stating that Rogers is on Arsenal's list. Steve Kate told me personally about a month ago that we should keep an eye on Morgan Rogers to Arsenal, and now we have another journalist actually pointing towards that direction. Now Morgan Rogers on the other hand, if he's going to come in, would definitely elevate Arsenal's team a lot. He's the type of player Arsenal don't really have at this moment in time. He's strong, he's direct, he likes to dribble, he likes to be on the ball, and he's still very young. I think he's only about 22, 23 years old, so there's still a lot of room for development for Morgan Rogers. And if we were able to land him for around £60 million, that would be an amazing piece of business for the club. He's also a player that can play in a multitude of positions. He can play on the wings. Predominantly is more of an attacking midfielder, so it's someone that can rotate with Odegaard, and he also fits the bill of a Mikel Arteta style player. He's very big, he's strong, and he's direct. So like I mentioned, he's someone we don't really have at the club at the moment. We don't really have someone that can break those lines, someone that has that X factor, and I believe Morgan Rogers has all the qualities to succeed at Arsenal. Interestingly enough, Aston Villa are needing to sell the summer. That's why you can see someone like Emiliano Martinez, the former Arsenal goalkeeper. He's likely going to be on the move. So if Morgan Rogers is available, I think the Gunners should be all over this deal. He would be an immense player for the club, and like I mentioned, he would just elevate us in so many areas. He would be a rotation option. He would raise our technical floor, and then he's just such a good player, such an exciting player to watch, and it's something like, as I mentioned, that Arsenal don't have at the moment. So keep an eye on Morgan Rogers to Arsenal. That is one I could actually see happening. Price tag will be very much dependent on the price tag. I think if we can land him for around £60 million, it would be a massive deal. Now on the outgoings front, we saw this morning Arsenal confirm that Nuno Tavares has now finally joined Lazio on a permanent deal. This is a piece of business we expected the club to make for quite some time now. The Lazio president himself has stated a couple of months ago that he's going to be signing Tavares. Tavares had a very good season in Italy. Unfortunately, with the obligation to buy we placed on him was quite small, so we're not going to be getting a lot of funds in from, I believe it's between £7 and £10 million. So not a big investment into the club. However, it is a little bit of extra funds that we can actually put towards some players, and we know we need some attacking options. So hopefully we take those funds and literally place it into our kitty for the attacking front. So Tavares is gone. Kieran Tierney is also gone. Zinchenko likely could leave as well. So don't be surprised if you see Arsenal making another left-sided defender signing, especially at the left-back position. Miles Lewis-Kelly is going to be Arsenal's number 1 next season. You still have Ricardo Calafiori who can play in that position, and Jacob Kiwior if need be. But we know Arteta really likes his defenders, and considering Calafiori's injury record and Miles Lewis-Kelly is still quite young, you don't want an 18, 19-year-old to be playing 60 plus games a season. I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal actually do make another left-sided defender signing. Sticking on the defense, and our final story is that we saw last night also some breaking news that Gabriel, the legend, the Arsenal, the fan, the folk hero at the moment, has decided to reject the big money move to Saudi Arabia. Apparently his wages would have been quadrupled, so you can imagine that would have been a very hard deal for him to turn down, but it just shows his love for the club at this moment in time, and he's actually opted that he wants to stay at Arsenal. Now, we've reported also a couple of weeks ago that he's actually already agreed to a new deal. Expect that deal to be announced probably in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks. The deal's already been agreed. Gabriel is staying. He signed a new 5-year deal with Arsenal. So, Gabriel, the King of Brazil, will be here until 2030. Anyway, guys, as I mentioned, we're going to keep you guys up to date with all the latest Arsenal transfer stories. The transfer window, the short little transfer window, is almost coming to a close. We're around halfway through the first little part of this transfer window before the Club World Cup kicks off. After that, you're going to expect a lot more movement, but I do believe we'll get one signing at least through the door before the Club World Cup kicks off. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. As always, please don't forget to smash that like button, follow Punch Drunk Arsenal for your latest Arsenal news and transfer updates, and leave your comments in the comment section down below. Cheers, guys. How's it going, guys, and